People think that you were a crackpot. Do you know what a crackpot is?
Crack plan.
A crackpot. A crazy person.
Yes, but this is not absolutely exact, because tell many times Dalí is almost crazy.
Salvador Dalí is considered one of the greatest geniuses in art, though many also called him insane. His paintings could be born from any absurd, puzzling, or completely surreal idea that crossed his mind. They were impossible worlds, hard to decipher, but there's one painting in particular that Dalí actually wanted to explain, one that was born from a dream. In that dream, Dalí said he saw the nucleus of an atom, but not like a scientist. He saw it as a kind of divine revelation, and years later, he decided to turn that vision into a religious painting. The title sounds traditional, The Ascension of Christ, but what he did with that scene is anything but traditional. Christ floats with no wounds. We see him from below, as if we were standing beneath him. A woman watches him from above, and right in the center, there's a massive yellow halo that looks like anything but a halo. In 1958, a little over a decade had passed since the world first witnessed the destructive power of the atom in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And while most people spoke of nuclear fear, Dalí saw something else. He saw the beauty of the universe working from within. He even said the atom was the visual proof of God's existence. At that time, he began to move away from chaotic surrealism and dove into a new phase he called nuclear mysticism. He wanted to blend modern science with religious visions, and not just in theory. Dalí started painting what he believed to be the deeper truth behind matter itself. That same year, Dalí publicly declared his return to the Catholic faith. He did it in his own way, without giving up his eccentricity, but from that point on, he began portraying Christ not only as a sacred figure, but as the very center of the universe. All of this, science, faith, and the explosion of a new obsession with the nuclear, led him to create what is possibly the wildest image of Christ we've ever seen. Dalí presents the scene from below, literally from Christ's feet. The first thing we see are his dirty feet, pointing straight at us, almost breaking out of the frame. That position is no coincidence. According to tradition, it's exactly what the apostles would have seen at the moment of the ascension. As we move upward, the legs are tense, as if the body is still rising. The arms are spread open, but not in a peaceful gesture, more like a rigid, almost strained position. The hands appear stiff, almost claw-like, and interestingly, we don't see his face, just his chin seen from below. At the center of the painting is the most striking element, a large golden disc. At first glance, it looks like a halo, but its structure is far more complex. It's made of a series of expanding spirals, like a flower seen from above, or the swirl of a galaxy, something I'll explain later on. And above the disc, there's a female figure. It's Gala, Dalí's eternal muse. Here she's portrayed as a kind of Virgin Mary, with tears on her face and her gaze lifted toward Christ. Just below her chin, a white dove appears, a small but important detail as it represents the Holy Spirit. And surrounding all of this, the sky isn't blue, it's dramatic, filled with clouds that seem to be on fire. Reds, oranges, scorched tones. There's no peace here, as one might expect in a religious image. Instead, it looks like a sky in full combustion. You can probably imagine what inspired that. But now that we know what we're looking at, it's time to ask, what does it all mean? The entire scene is set within a pentagon and a circle, following the rules of the golden ratio. Christ's body, from the soles of his feet to the tips of his fingers, is positioned according to this proportion. It's said that the ancient Greeks may have used it in the architecture of temples like the Parthenon, and we know that Renaissance artists such as Leonardo da Vinci applied it in works like the Vitruvian Man. Dalí didn't use it just because it sounded elegant. He used it because he believed it was a kind of secret code of nature, a form that, according to some, repeats itself in flowers, bodies, planets, and that connects the human with the divine. That's why Christ's body isn't floating randomly, it's embedded within an exact balance, as if his ascension were not just a spiritual gesture, but also a mathematical construction. Now, let's return to the golden disc at the center. If it reminds you of a sunflower, you're not imagining it. The shape, the pattern, the arrangement, all of it resembles a flower seen from above. And yes, that's intentional too. Dalí saw it in his dream, a nucleus expanding in spirals, and he chose a shape that, according to him, reflected that same pattern of natural order. And there's one more detail that stands out. His feet are dirty, but they have no wounds. And that's strange, considering this scene takes place after the crucifixion. Logically, we should see the marks from the nails, but Dalí removes them completely. There's no blood, no sign of suffering. Instead, he leaves the dirt, as if he wanted to remind us that this Christ, though already ascending, still carries something from his time on earth. Probably one of the reasons this painting isn't as well known as other works by Dalí is because very few people have actually seen it in person. The Ascension of Christ belongs to the private collection of Mexican businessman Juan Antonio Pérez Simón. He bought it in the 1970s, and since then it has remained outside the museum circuit. It's not on permanent display anywhere, and it has only appeared a handful of times in temporary exhibitions. So yes, this is one of those works that, while stunning, very few have had the chance to stand in front of. And when it has been shown, it has sparked very different opinions. Critic Robert Hughes, one of Dalí's harshest detractors in his later years, said these paintings were pure showmanship without soul and labeled them spiritual kitsch. On the other hand, scholars like Dawn Aids, an expert in Surrealism, have defended this phase as a logical evolution of Dalí's work and pointed to the Ascension as one of his most technically and symbolically ambitious pieces. This is where it's worth comparing it to another of Dalí's paintings, Christ of St. John of the Cross from 1951. In that work, Christ is seen from above, suspended over the earth with arms outstretched in the shape of a cross. It's a much quieter, more introspective image. The Ascension, by contrast, is the complete opposite, full of movement, color, symbols, and above all, that nuclear element that blends science and religion. Now the question is for you. Had you seen this painting before? Do you think Dalí was insane for painting Jesus this way? Or do you find some logic in what inspired him to create it? I'd love to read your interpretation in the comments. And if you'd like to add this painting to your own collection, it's now available on our website, so you can make it yours. In the description below, you'll find a link to our site, where you can keep learning about art and also purchase your favorite painting to enjoy at home for life. Shipping is free worldwide, and by purchasing, you're helping me continue creating videos like this one. Thanks for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.